The acre is a unit of area used in the imperial and U.S. customary systems. It is equivalent to 43,560 square feet. An acre is about 40% of a hectare or about 75% the size of an American football field. The acre is commonly used in the United States, Antigua and Barbuda, American Samoa, the Bahamas, Belize, the British Virgin Islands, the Cayman Islands, Dominica, the Falkland Islands, Grenada, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, India, Jamaica, Montserrat, Myanmar, Pakistan, Samoa, St. Lucia, St. Helena, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Turks and Caicos, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The international symbol of the acre is Acre, and is defined as 1/640th of a square mile. The most commonly used acre today is the international acre. In the United States, both the international acre and the slightly different U.S. survey acre are in use. The most common use of the acre is to measure tracts of land. One international acre is defined as exactly 4,046.8564224 square meters. During the Middle Ages, an acre was the amount of land that could be plowed in one day with a yoke of oxen and measured by 1 chain in width, and 1 furlong, or 10 chains in length, yielding 4840 square yards. Description: 1 acre equals 0.00156625 square miles, 4,840 square yards, 43,560 square feet or about 4,047 square meters. While all modern variants of the acre contain 4,840 square yards, there are alternative definitions of a yard, so the exact size of an acre depends on which yard it is based on. Originally, an acre was understood as a salion of land sized at 40 perches long and 4 perches. This may have also been understood as an approximation of the amount of land a yoke of oxen could plow in one day. A square enclosing 1 acre is approximately 69.57 yards, or 208 feet 9 inches on a side. As a unit of measure, an acre has no prescribed shape. Any area of 43,560 square feet is an acre. Differences between international and U.S. survey acres. In the International Yard and Pound Agreement of 1959, the United States and 5 countries of the Commonwealth of Nations defined the length of the international yard to be exactly 0.9144 meters. Consequently, the international acre is exactly 4,046.8564224 square meters. Both the international acre and the U.S. survey acre contain 1/640th of a square mile or 4,840 square yards, but there are alternative definitions of a yard, so the exact size of an acre depends on which yard it is based on. The U.S. survey acre is about 4,046.872,609,874,252 square meters. Its exact value is based on an inch defined by 1 meter equals 39.37 inches exactly, as established by the Mendenhall Order. Surveyors in the United States use both international and survey feet, and consequently, both varieties of acre. Since the difference between the U.S. survey acre and international acre is only about a quarter of the size of an A4 sheet of paper, it is usually not important which one is being discussed. Areas are seldom measured with sufficient accuracy for the different definitions to be detectable. South Asia, in India, especially in South India, residential plots are measured in cents or decimal, which is 1/100th of an acre, or 435.60 square feet. In Sri Lanka, the division of an acre into 160 perches or 4 roods is common. Equivalents to other units of area: 1 international acre is equal to the following metric units: 4,046.8564224 square meters, 0.40468564224 a hectare. 1 United States survey acre is equal to 4,046.87261 square meters, 0.404687261 a hectare. 1 acre is equal to the following customary units: 66 a feet, 660 a feet. 10 square chains. 1 acre is approximately 208.71 a feet, 208.71 a feet, 4,840 square yards, 43,560 square feet, 160 perches. A perch is equal to a square rod, 4 roods, a furlong by a chain, 40 rods by 4 rods, 160 rods to 1 a 640 square mile. Perhaps the easiest way for U.S. residents to envisage an acre is as a rectangle measuring 88 yards by 55 yards, about 9 or 10 the size of a standard American football field. To be more exact, 1 acre is 90.75% of a 100 yards long by 53.33 yards wide American football field. The full field, including the end zones, covers approximately 1.32 acres. For residents of other countries, the acre might be envisaged as approximately 56.68% of a 105 meters long by 68 meters wide association football pitch. It may also be remembered as 44,000 square feet, less 1%. Historical origin. The word acre is derived from Old English hectare, originally meaning open field, cognate to West Coast Norwegian akre and Swedish ajenkare, German Acre, Dutch Acre, Latin Ager, and Greek I plus or minus I cubed IOI. In English it was historically spelled acre. The acre was approximately the amount of land tillable by a yoke of oxen in one day. This explains one definition as the area of a rectangle with sides of length 1 chain and 1 furlong. A long narrow strip of land is more efficient to plough than a square plot, since the plough does not have to be turned so often. The word furlong itself derives from the fact that it is 1 furrow long. Before the enactment of the metric system, many countries in Europe used their own official acres. These were differently sized in different countries. For instance, the historical French acre was 4,221 square meters, whereas in Germany as many variants of acre existed as there were German states. Statutory values for the acre were enacted in England, and, subsequently, the United Kingdom, by acts of Edward I, Edward III, Henry VIII, George IV and Queen Victoria. The British Weights and Measures Act of 1878 defined it as containing 4,840 square yards. Historically, the size of farms and landed estates in the United Kingdom was usually expressed in acres, even if the number of acres was so large that it might conveniently have been expressed in square miles. For example, a certain landowner might have been said to own 32,000 acres of land, not 50 square miles of land. The acre is related to the square mile, with 640 acres making up 1 square mile. 1 mile is 5280 feet. In western Canada and the western United States, divisions of land area were typically based on the square mile, and fractions thereof. If the square mile is divided into quarters, each quarter has a side length of 1 or 2 mile and is 1 or 4 square mile in area, or 160 acres. These subunits would typically then again be divided into quarters, with each side being 1 or 4 mile long, and being 1 or 16 of a square mile in area, or 40 acres. In the United States, farmland was typically divided as such, and the phrase "the back 40" would refer to the 40-acre parcel to the back of the farm. Most of the Canadian prairie provinces and the U.S. Midwest are on square-mile grids for surveying purposes. Other acres, customary acre. The customary acre was a measure of roughly similar size to the acre described above, but it was subject to considerable local variation similar to the variation found in carucates, virgates, bovates, nooks, and farundels. However, there were more ancient measures that were also farthingales. These may have been multiples of the customary acre, rather than the statute acre. Builder's acre. In U.S. construction and real estate development, an area of 40,000 square feet. Used to simplify math and for marketing, it is nearly 10% smaller than a survey acre. Scottish acre, one of a number of obsolete Scottish units of measurement. Irish acre equals 7,840 square yards, Cheshire acre equals 10,240 square yards, Roman acre equals 1,260 square meters, God's acre. A synonym for a churchyard. The Byzantine Zagarian was also based on the area of farmland which could be ploughed by a pair of oxen. This was adopted as the Ottoman sektionivt. See also. References. External links. The Units of Measurement Regulations 1995, Cockeyed.com presents, How much is inside an acre?